The Titanic was built by Harland and Wolff in Belfast, Ireland, and she was built as one of 3 sister ships from the White Star Line. This was in competition to the Cunard Line, who already had 2 ships that were first prize winners for carrying passengers overseas, and they were the fastest ones too. Now, the Titanic was the biggest one in her time, and she carried over 2,200 passengers when she sailed on her maiden voyage to New York. Now, sadly, she hit an iceberg, and she didn't have enough lifeboats on her ship to carry the passengers that were on board, as she had a double hull, and they deemed her unsinkable. Now, only a handful of survivors survived from the cold, freezing waters below. Only 700 survivors, in fact. The news shocked the world when the Titanic sank and has captured hearts ever since. The stories about the Titanic. 2 of the survivors made it to Australia, and I want to talk about the first one, William John Murdoch, who sailed on the Titanic. William John Murdoch was born in Great Clifton, Cumberland, England on the 17th of September 1874. He was the son of Irish immigrant parents and the first of 8 children. Murdoch first signed onto the Titanic on the 29th of March 1912 for her delivery trip from Belfast to Southampton. He signed on again on the 6th of April and gave his previous ship as the Braehead and his current address as the Sailors' Home, Southampton. As a fireman, he could expect monthly wages of £6. Also serving abroad was a neighbour from the same street, fellow stoker John Hagan. Murdoch was rescued from the sinking, although which lifeboat is unknown. He was not called to give evidence to either the British or American inquiries into the sinking. William returned to Belfast and continued working at sea into the 1920s. In the midst of that decade, he and his family emigrated to Sydney, Australia, where he continued seafaring duties, working on coastal ships between Newcastle and Sydney. William Murdoch died in Sydney on the 1st of July 1941. His widow Catherine died the 22nd of March 1965, and they are buried together in Rookwood, Sydney. Murdoch claimed to have survived the sinking by jumping into the water and being picked up by the collapsible boat he helped lowering Number D. This is not possible, however. Either he was in it from the beginning, or he was in his own assigned boat. Boat D picked up Mr. F.M. Hoyt and nobody else. It is altogether possible that Murdoch was one of the 2 firemen in this boat, but if so, he was in it when it was lowered away. Boat C never picked up anyone. Again, Mr. Murdoch may have been one of the firemen in this boat, but D is perhaps slightly more probable. Murdoch was assigned to boat 16 and may have been one of the firemen in that boat after all. He would later claim he was in a boat with Mrs. Brown. How did he know who she was? Then again, one fireman was transferred from boat 16 to 6. Perhaps this was Murdoch. Murdoch died at the age of 66 from heart problems. It's documented that he was suffering heart problems for 2 months before he passed away.